Hi, my name is Danielle Neely, and welcome back to another episode of the Industry Edge podcast, where we talk with leaders working in and for the hardest working industries such as manufacturing, distribution, construction, and more. This episode is brought to you by KNC Marketing. KNC is a full service marketing agency that helps B2B industrial companies grow their brand and increase sales. They serve as either a fully outsourced marketing partner or supplement in house marketing teams. To learn more about KNC's brand development, marketing, and website services, visit kncmarketingagency.com. Now, today I have Ken Huffman, Vice President of Operations at Toyota Material Handling Midsouth. With 5 years in material handling and 13 years of experience in the mining industry, Ken has a wealth of experience in engineering, operations, and all things maintenance. He is an absolute driving force behind all things operations and leads his team with such passion and heart, and I'm super excited to have him on today. Ken, thank you for coming on the show. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm honored.
Awesome. All right, well, I'll start it off pretty easy. So 13 years in mining, first off, that's a really long time in anything, but a really long time in the mining industry. So when you were making the move to a new industry after that amount of time, I mean, that's got to be really scary making that change. What made you take the leap of faith when making the move to Toyota?
So there's a couple of things at play with that. The mining, I'll start by saying the mining industry was very good to me. So they gave me a lot of opportunities. I got to see a lot, got to experience a lot, got to live in multiple countries. It was a really good experience professionally. But by the time I was 13 years in, I had a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old in. It's a very demanding industry. So, there's a lot of, phone calls after hours. The weekends there was always something going on because it's 24/7 type operation. And anytime, something's down, anytime something's not going well, there's millions of dollars at play, with the business. So it was really hard to kind of turn that off and, kind of have that work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
So when the recruiters call that Toyota uses, and they're a great company, by the way, Optimize Talent, a shout out to them. So they're awesome. But so they called me and caught me at a good time, honestly, because I'm not a job hopper. I was with the same company the whole time I was in the mining industry. So as long as the company's treating me well, I try to be loyal to them. But they caught me at a time where kind of spiritually I was down a little bit, and not really feeling like I was being the father I needed to be, and having the time with the family. So I took the call, which I probably wouldn't normally, and they definitely got my attention with Toyota. Obviously there's name recognition there, and multi-billion-dollar company, worldwide. It's so that got my attention for sure. And just started out with some casual conversations, and ended up setting down with the president of the organization. And that's when I really got hooked, just hearing about the culture and his leadership outlook on his empowerment model, and how he takes his team and lets them have a lot of say in the organization, really be a part of building something and growing it. And it kind of had me hooked at that point. So the process took, it was a fairly long vetting process, 2 or 3 months. But by the time pulled the trigger on it, it was right before COVID, January 2020, and haven't looked back since. It's been a great ride.
That's awesome. That's also what a scary, when did you actually get hired? That's a scary time that was a scary time to even like switch a job. So not only just switching, but you were able to feel really good about it during a really scary time. So I love that.
Yeah.
So looking back after the past like 5 years that you've been with the organization, I feel like you've learned a lot, I'm sure, and worn a lot of different hats. Like, do you feel like it's been everything that you wanted, like when you did, and or more, or how would you, in what ways would you describe that?
Sure. I mean, I think for sure I've gotten everything out of it I hope to get out of it, and definitely more. It was definitely as advertised. There was a lot of, there was a lot of kind of painting big picture, broad strokes of kind of where we wanted to head, and the opportunity to grow. And, I think within 3 years, we had basically 3x the business. So, exponentially it was going up. That's despite a worldwide pandemic and all the other things. And, getting to see the kind of the contrast in the material handling industry, being fairly resistant to economic downturns and things like that, versus the mining industry, which was very tied to economic conditions and a lot of ups and downs with it. And so the stability, that was the amazing amount of peace that's involved with financial stability, with an organization was great. So that was very, very appreciated, and something that I kind of probably undervalued whenever I was taking the job of really kind of seeing, how much that played.
Mm-hmm.
But, from the opportunity to touch the business and, and having a smaller part of responsibility when I came in, to being able to grow it to multiple brands that we operate, and you're working with a lot of different departments, and, getting the opportunity to take on more and more responsibility. Yeah, it's definitely, I've gotten everything out of it that I hope to, and, really excited about kind of 2025 and kind of where we're heading.
Yeah, I know. New year, new big things to focus
Right.
on. I love that. So, I mentioned this offline to you, but being a more operationally minded person that you are, I am super impressed with how much that you like creative and thoughtful and very people and passion driven that you are. It just comes out of you and pours out of you. And I feel like that's not something that's very normal when you are more operational. I feel like you kind of tend to think that people are more you know, just by the book and can kind of turn that emotion and that passion off. And that's something that I feel like you marry the two so well. What is one of the like most like proud initiatives that you are like most proud of? I guess I said that twice, but yeah,
So,
most proud of.
there's probably a couple. The one that we've had in place longer of the two, is what we call bold days. So it's basically a schedule that provides better work-life balance for our field-based technicians that we have. Whenever, I guess, backing up a little bit of kind of why we're doing it and kind of all that background. So, right after, COVID started to let up a little bit, there was this huge demand on technicians in Middle Tennessee. And, we were losing a few, to competitors. There was, it was a very competitive job market. And, we had done some work on, increasing wages and adding additional benefits like free healthcare and things like that. We were doing some really good things, for the employees, but I was racking my brain trying to think of some things we could offer to employees that were, not as tangible, financially, but, that kind of, kept people sticky and wanting to be here, and kind of a different experience than anybody else was doing. And, work-life balance, like I said, it was important to me because coming from the mining industry, I didn't have a great work-life balance, and I wanted to do something that gave our employees a better work-life balance. So I was like, well, we got to figure out how to make a 4-day work week stick. That way, if everybody knows this, your weekends, they're so busy. You got 2 days and they're jam packed with honey-do lists and running the kids here and there, and trying to be that parent, and trying to do all the things in 2 days that you didn't get done the rest of the week. And it's like, we really need one day just for the employees to do whatever they want. The day that they can relax, they can go. An extra day means a lot. For short time in my career, I had a 4-day work week, and it was great because I had, the way I looked at it is, I had a day for the honey-do list. I had a day for myself, and then I had a day for family. So it kind of gave me a better, total balance to my life. It seemed like, so I was trying to come up with something that would do that for the employees. And I probably should have thought it through a little bit better before I actually said, hey, Sean, I got this idea, we should do this. Because within a week I was presenting it to the executive team, and and then within a month we were rolling out a pilot program. Within 2 months we were rolling it out to the rest of the organization. So it was really cool to be able to have an idea, see it come to fruition so quickly, and then be something that was super impactful to our technicians. That's one of the questions that we ask candidates whenever they're interviewing is, what's one of the main drivers to wanting to come work here. And we normally get kind of the same answers. I like your benefits. Your bold days are really awesome. I like the 4-day work week. and the cultural type things was kind of the standard three things that normally come up. So yeah, pretty proud of that one, just because I see it. I see people that how it's impacted them. You see sometimes technicians will friend you on Facebook, and then they'll post on their bold day the big buck they got that day because you were able to go hunting whenever they may not have had a chance that weekend, or out fishing, or just spend some time with the kids in the summer when they're out of school. It's really cool to be able to see that. So that was one of the most rewarding ones. And then another initiative that we do here, I can't take credit for this initiative. This is something that Sean brought into the organization before I started, is corporate chaplaincy, which, that was one of the, when you asked earlier about, the leap of coming to Toyota, that was another thing that really solidified that this is where I need to be, because I thought that was really cool that we don't have a standard EAP program. We actually have, a designated chaplain for our organization. But we took that to the next level this a few months ago. We actually expanded that to our customers. So again, another cool thing about working for this organization is, I said, hey, I'd like to do this for our customers. What's your thoughts of expanding this? And Sean was okay with footing the bill to expand our chaplaincy service. So now every forklift that leaves our shop has a little QR code that they can scan, and it takes them to a chaplain. So if they're having any kind of issues that they're trying to work through, and they need a person to talk to, we've got that service now expanded to our customers. Is really cool. And really appreciate you guys doing the artwork for us and making the decals, because we wouldn't have been able to have that initiative come to fruition without you guys' help. So I appreciate that.
Of course. We love helping with those kind of ideas. That one is something too that, not everyone has somebody to talk to. It's like, if you have family and loved ones that you feel comfortable that you can talk when you're going through something, or your family is going through something, that's wonderful. But when people don't or need somebody to talk to, being able to extend that kind of service is amazing. And that just shows what kind of heart that you guys have, like the people at Midsouth and the leadership and the type of love that you have for people. So I absolutely love that. So I want to.
So for people out there listening, I'm sorry. So for people out there listening, if they're not familiar with that, there's a couple different organizations that use it. We use Corporate Chaplains of America, and you get a report. I think they do it monthly, but there's no names associated with it. Everything's anonymous, but it lets you know the different types of categories that people are calling, looking for guidance on. And what really got me thinking down this road of, hey, we need to offer this more than to just our employees is, there was one report I looked at. It was a 12-month thing, and suicide and addiction were on there. So we actually had employees that were contemplating suicide and battling with addiction. And if we don't do anything else other than help people with those two buckets, it's all worth it. So I would definitely encourage anybody out there listening to, if you haven't thought about that, I would definitely check it out, because it's impacting people's lives in a big way.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think you guys get it right, is like focusing on the spiritual and like the heart and the person first, and always knowing that there's an actual human on the other side of it. That is what you're not going to go to work and do a good job if you're not in a good place mentally, or in your heart, or with God, because that's where you have to start. So I feel like that is so impactful, and something that you don't really see, I feel like, especially in the world that you guys are in. So I love that.
Right.
So the 4-day work week, that's obviously that's a bold move, and that's pun intended there. But so talk to me about, or talk to people about what bold means, like what it stands for, and how did you, like, that's being able to do that for your whole entire workforce, like technician force, within a couple months, like already talk to me a little bit more about that. Like, how did you guys actually execute it and know that it was going to be something that you guys could work with?
Sure. So yeah, to your question, so BOLD stands for Bettering Our Lives Daily. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you guys helped with that branding of that whenever we were doing some other initiatives for the entire workforce. So we wanted to kind of continue on with that acronym for any time we have a benefit to the organization. So anytime it's something that's going to benefit our employees, we kind of roll it under our BOLD program. So that's why we call them BOLD days. The as far as the implementation, so yeah, it started with just kind of an idea, a concept, mapping it out. We had a few parameters we had to play with. We were trying to do it with as little of a financial impact to the organization as possible. We wanted to definitely not decrease the level of service we provide to our customers. So we kind of had these type of boxes that we had to definitely stay within. So the way we did it was we just put everybody on 10-hour days instead of 8-hour days, and 20% of your workforce was off at any given day. Increased hours, you still had the same amount of work hours in the day. So we piloted it just to make sure proof of concept that we didn't go backwards on any being able to respond to breakdown calls or obligations we had to customers. And through the pilot program, everything went good. Great feedback from the technicians. It's always dicey whenever you start. There's two kind of things that you generally don't want to mess with, and that's people's schedule and people's pay. If you start messing with those, you could go down a road that could end up pretty poorly, right? So we thought it through pretty well. A lot of good feedback from the executive team and some of the senior leaders of things we need to consider and implement whenever we rolled it out. Kind of laid out the expectations with the crew and like, hey, we see this as a benefit for you guys. If you guys really, if we can get you guys to really try this out and try to adopt it, we think you're going to like it. And there was a few hesitations initially. Again, we're messing with people's schedules, but it ended up going off really well. Really positive feedback. There was only, of the whole organization, I think it was maybe a couple people that it didn't work for due to childcare and things like that. So we made accommodations for them. But in general, it's something that started off as just an idea, and it's been the way we do business now for, I want to say we're going on the third year of that. I think this will be the third year, I believe, of that schedule.
That's amazing. And I know I'll just tout on you for a minute on that, because I know that you got recognition at Toyota Corporate last year or the year before because of this. I don't have any of the other dealerships or adopted this method, or have you met any other companies that have kind of adopted this method as well?
I did some web calls with different dealerships across the country and kind of laid out kind of what we did, what we were trying to achieve, kind of the parameters that we had to play within, whenever we did it, and the expectations. And I know there was at least a few that adopted it. I don't know if they took it company wide or if I know there was at least one company that had kind of an opt in or opt out. So we elected not to really do the opt out unless there was some sort of a major reason why you couldn't do it, just because it's harder to manage if you got some people doing it and some people not doing it. But there's at least a few dealerships that have adopted similar models.
Yeah, that's amazing. See, look at the work you've done, trickling to places all over the country. I love that. So, how do you measure? You said that you can, like, you'll see stories of people on their bold days off, and the overall morale is different amongst the technicians, which I feel like technicians, because they're on the road and they're not in the office, to feel the culture and the love that you guys have there, that's like kind of a form that they're able to, knowing that you guys care about them in ways that can touch them and impact their life is amazing. You said, what are the specific metrics that you're looking at? Is it retention? Is it, feedback from employees? Do you guys have regular check-ins to understand what the metrics are that you're measuring the success of it?
Yeah, we have a few. Retention's definitely one of them, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we have the lowest turnover of any of the equity dealers for Toyota. I know that was the case at one point. Don't have the most recent numbers, but I think that is still accurate. So that's been big. We definitely do. If somebody does leave, we do exit interviews with them, so we get that information. And we've actually had some people that have left and come back, and that was actually one of the things that they stated is really missing in the short time that they were gone, is missing the bowl days and and the benefits that we offered. So sometimes it's hard to take the whole package into account, with overall compensation. Whenever you look at it, sometimes you just look at the dollar per hour that you're making. So we have seen, where people leave, maybe for $1 or $2 an hour that end up coming back, because at the end of the day, the free benefits and what comes out of your paycheck, you actually might make less. And then the intangible things of, hey, I really miss having an extra day off where I could do things and enjoy things and things like that. So I think it's been good for bringing people back that may have left at one point.
Yep. The grass isn't always greener where they're giving you a little bit more green. The time is more important for people. But I think, yeah, you might not know that until you leave it. So that's amazing. I love that. Okay, so one last question that I do have. What is one piece of advice that you would tell someone who's looking to grow their career, either in like the operational space in general or material handling specific? What's one piece of advice that you would give them?
So are you thinking like somebody that's already in the industry that wants to grow, or somebody that's maybe coming from another industry, like thinking about dipping their toes into material handling?
I
Which way
think
are you
both.
kind of
I
thinking?
think both. Like if you're new into the operations, space and or if you're new and looking into material handling, what's that piece of advice? And if they're two different ones, that's totally fine.
Okay. Yeah. So if we'll start with if you're thinking about maybe getting into the material handling space, or you haven't considered it, there's some things that I would promote that's really good about it. So one, I talked about it earlier. It's the resistance to resilience rather in economic conditions. And as long as people are doing their shopping on Amazon and they got distribution centers and things like that, and where they're going to need product moved, material handling is going to be, it was an essential service during COVID. It's always going to be an essential service. And you don't just have to be working on forklifts to be in the space. We've got people with sales skills. We have people, in accounting and accounts payable, accounts receivable, like all the types of functions that just about any other business are going to have. We have roles for that as well. So, there's definitely opportunities to transition your skills from maybe a non-related industry to come over to material handling. We definitely need good talent, and a lot of times that's an advantage, is coming in with eyes wide open and asking questions and looking at things a little bit differently. So even if you don't have experience in the field, I think it could be a great field for you to consider. We've got lots of different skill sets that we need to keep the organization moving forward. So a lot of good opportunity there, to move up. We've had a lot of people that have been in one department and moved to another department. There's a lot of, maneuverability, once you're within the space, that can be great for personal growth. So I would definitely consider it for sure. If you're already in the industry, we're everything is transitioning more to electric. Especially where we are in Tennessee. Historically, it's been a internal combustion type engine market, less on the electric side. That seems to be shifting more and more to electric. So if you're already in the industry, as much skill set that you can grow in that electrical side to kind of be ahead of the curve, because things are transitioning more that way. Just like most industries, AI is becoming more and more prevalent. Automation, those type of things. We're seeing a lot more as organizations struggle to get employees, to get people to come to work. Things are going automated. So if you can enhance your skills or study up and learn more in those spaces, that's going to be more and more prevalent as time goes on. So from a technical side anyway. But it's one of those industries where everybody has to work so closely together. It's easy to become siloed because everybody has their own area that they're focusing on and things like that. But if you want to grow, reach out across departmental lines, and you can get to know your internal stakeholders as well as your external stakeholders, and listen a lot. Build close relationships with those people, and you'll grow just by gathering feedback and and actioning on the information you gather from other people. If you just kind of stay in your lane all the time, you're not gonna grow as fast as if you know reach out across other departments.
Totally. That is a common theme. I've had a couple interviews now, and that is a common theme of like, open your eyes, open your ears, be open to what people have to say. Don't be closed-minded. Even if you think that you know more than somebody else, you might learn something from somebody, but you have to be open to hear it. So I love that.
The other thing I would say to that is get a good mentor. That's been hugely impactful for me. I've got some guys, I'll name a couple names. Mike French, he's my counterpart up at one of the other dealerships for ProLift material handling. He's been great for me early on, like my first month in the industry. He reached out to welcome me, into it, and we exchanged phone calls and text messages, things like that. He's been great for me. Another gentleman that's since retired that was down in Florida, Lance Landeshi. He was great. There's a lot of talent and experience out there. So wherever your role is, find another dealership that somebody that does similar type of work that you do. Reach out. Build a relationship with them, bounce questions, ideas off of them, and that's been wildly impactful for me.
Yep. I love it. You got to have your peeps. You got to have one. Otherwise, you just got nothing if you don't got peeps. I love that. Awesome. Well, to wrap it all up, we've been talking with Ken Huffman, VP of Operations at Toyota Material Handling Midsouth. Ken, tell the people where we can learn more about you or learn more about Midsouth.
Sure. So you guys did a great job building a website for us. So www.tmhmidsouth.com. So it's very interactive. It's got links to all of our different brands that we do, the services we offer, locations that we service. You can do a lot of things through requests for information and things like that. That's automated. There's also phone numbers, key contacts. We're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn. So check us out. We do have some positions that are open. So if you're interested in moving into material handling, check us out. And thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This was so great. I appreciate it.